Hey everyone, it's Matt from Vice here. We're doing another product install video for our control box relocation kit, which puts the winches control box in the engine bay so you can keep it away from dirt, debris, water, and you can easily plug in your controller. So we just finished installing our clutch relocation kit. You can find that video somewhere up here. And let's dive into it. So included in the kit is an extended main wiring harness that replaces the factory control box wiring. We've color-coded the ends to match the OEM and also included a shorter power supply cable, as your control box will be closer to the battery and this will clean up your engine bay a little bit. We've also got a mounting bracket. Each vehicle and winch we offer this for will have their own mounting bracket. This is for 4th Gen Ram 1500 or the WARN VR Evo. Okay, so we're going to start by removing the control box. There are four 4mm Allen head bolts that hold it on. To help do that, we're going to spool the winch out so we can gain a little bit more access to them. So we'll cut this off there. See if it's engaged. Yeah. Okay, now that we've got a bit more room to access these fasteners, we're going to take them out. So hopefully you can still see that. Okay, I'm just removing the last one here. Put this down off to the side. Okay, now we're going to remove this top cover. There are 4 Phillips head screws that gotta come out. Okay, and after you remove that last fastener, we can take the cap off. Just being careful here. And we can remove this electrical connector. I like to place the fasteners in the cap. Put that off to the side. Now there's 2 things we can do here. We are going to remove the factory connectors and install our extended vise connectors. You can either do one at a time, so remove the yellow, put on the green, take a picture, or what we do here is mark each one with paint pens. Makes it a little easier. So I'm just going to mark blue, red, green, and yellow. Now I can take these all off. With all these off, there is one more fastener that has to be removed, just this ground with the Phillips screwdriver. Remember, when you put the new ground on, make sure all 3 of these are connected. And then we can put the winch out of the way. Alright, with the winch out of the way, we can install the extended wiring harness. With our paint marked connectors, we can form these to how we need them. We've pre-bent the green and blue, which is what it comes from factory. and install the shorter power wire. Remember to keep this connector on there and install all of the washers, nuts, what have you. And just make sure that there's no wires rubbing, keep them all kind of free in their own path. And then we'll put the small ground. Remember to put all three of these together. Do one at a time. And we'll just clean up the wires a little bit. It comes pre-taped, but it's much easier if you can take those off and kind of peel this back a bit. Alright, and then we can reinstall our cap. Don't just dump all the fasteners everywhere. Okay, now that we've got our longer wiring harness installed, we're going to install the control box in the engine bay and route this down to our winch. So we're going to need a 10mm wrench. We're going to use a impact to remove the fastener here. So if we take a look at the 4th gen RAM 1500, we go over to the fuse box on the driver's side. There is this number 10 head fastener we're going to remove. And then we're going to install this in the VR Evo bracket before we install it on the control box. Flipping this over, we want the plug facing upward. Oh, let's see if I can get that back on. And the fastener facing the WARN symbol. So using the number or 4mm Allen head fasteners that we moved that were securing this control box initially, we're going to fasten that in this plate. And the reason we put the number 10 or the 10mm head fastener in first is due to its length. It's hard to install after the fact. Snug those down. And then we'll put this rub this down for now. So then we just want to install this back in there. So now we can access the plug-in for our controller. and still open up our fuse box. We can route the smaller positive over there for now. We won't wire up the winch until it is fully installed because we'll still have to connect the bottom. Okay, now that we've got the control box mounted in the engine bay, we're just going to remove the old wiring so that we can mount this and wire up the extended wiring harness. Just remove these caps. Now, these come pre-marked from factory, blue, yellow, green, so we don't need the paint pens. We can just go ahead and remove all of these. And I'm just putting the washers and nuts back on here so I don't lose them. And lastly, the ground. And we're actually going to take these caps, and when we go to wire up the extended wiring harness on here, we'll install the caps on the extended one. Okay, so now we're under the truck. We can install the winch side of the wiring harness. I brought the boots from the original factory harness, and we're just going to slide these on each wire here. Okay, so I just went ahead and removed the nuts from where we previously had them installed, so we wouldn't lose them during the install of this winch. There's the last one. The ground's put these out of the road for a minute. And we're just going to reconnect the colors. So let's start with the green. Okay, so I've just got these loosely on here now, and the last wire to put on is the ground wire that actually comes with the winch. It's long enough, so we're just going to route it along with our wiring harness back up to the battery. So we'll just get this on the ground stud with our 14 gauge ground. Hopefully you can see if my hands aren't too much in the road here. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these up. Just making sure that these aren't touching, just keep them separate from each other as best you can. Okay, now that these are all snugged up, we'll just slide the boots over. Now we're just going to feed this up to a friend, and we can strap this all together, zip it where we want it, and get it secured in place. Okay, so we just attached the ground wire to the conduit in a couple places and secured it to the winch and routed it up. Okay, so now we have the positive and negative for the winch routed up to the battery. We're going to install the positive first, and then we're going to install the negative on the connector, and then we're going to connect it back up to the battery.
And that marks the completion of your winch control box relocation kit. This one was done on the WARN VR Evo, but we also sell control box relocation kits for other winches and other models trucks. Also, you'll likely want to check out these installation videos here that relate to this kit. Until next time, guys, later.